notes.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill. We got Zap right over there.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Today is November 23rd, 2016, and this is episode 55 of Run Jump Stomp. No matter what the show notes say, this week we are talking about the Project Scorpio price.
No more paid DLC for Ubisoft titles.
The eBays sold out of the NES classics fast.
Final Fantasy 15 spoiled.
The Smock Z looks pretty rad.
And Zap wafts on.
Those stories and more on this episode of Run, Jump, Stomp. Stick around. All right, okay. Our first story of today in the headlines is that the Xbox has the Project Scorpio coming sometime, holiday 2017. That's as specific as they're going to get right now. And GameStop sat down with a rep from Xbox, and they talked a little bit about Project Scorpio. And let me tell you what they said, Zap. So they were talking about what is the price of the system going to be, and the response was that Scorpio is a premium console. Fair enough. They said it will cost more than S, which by that they mean the Xbox S, which is like the new version of the Xbox One. They said that's obviously how we are building it. We have not announced the pricing yet, but I want to make sure that the investment we are putting into the product of Scorpio meets the demands of higher-end consumer, and that means that we're going to have a higher price. Okay, so I think that's perfectly fair that they're going to have a higher price on this. All right. Here's the rest of the interview. So the next question was basically about where does Project Scorpio sit in the Xbox ecosystem. And he said that this is not this is not to replace the Xbox One. It's not to replace the Xbox One S. This goes alongside them like another pillar. He said there's not one product that our customers come in and buy. Some people are going to come in and buy the 500 gigabyte Xbox One S. People are going to be going and getting a really cheap original Xbox One console. There's no one product that you look at and you say, this is the one that is for everyone. So what Microsoft is saying here is that they're going to have multiple Xboxes out there at various price points and various powers, I guess. And it really feels to me like the Xbox is moving more in the direction of PC gaming than in the direction of console gaming. So what do you think about that?
I think, personally, we will see a Scorpio replace those Xboxes. I think, personally, that if if not consumers, developers can develop for the what, and I think you're going to see it with the PS4 Pro as well. I honestly think the ones with the older generational hardware will get slightly left behind. The games are going to look smarter, better, develop better, all that kind of stuff on that new hardware. And Snow Goes Ham raises a very good point in chat. At such a high price point, you've got to wonder if it's worth getting a PC, especially with the move having Xbox games on PC. And that's a very good point. You know, if they're going to be putting it in the high price market, you can build a PC probably that will run games a hell of a lot better and do a lot more than your Xbox Scorpio or whatever it's called. Whatever it will be called. We know Scorpio's their obviously developer name for it. Buy a PC. if you're going to buy Microsoft games, you can go onto the Microsoft Store and you can buy Xbox Anywhere games, which means you can play them on your PC. I do think that if they're going to try and come into the PC market, I don't think consoles will. I'm not a PC elitist master race or is, but PCs do just do it a better job than the consoles. So that worries me. They're going to try and price the Scorpio so high up. Um, I mean, what would you pay for a console of this kind of caliber? What would you say is a good price for if you would go out and buy a Scorpio today?
Honestly, I can't really. I'm the worst person to answer that question because the only console I have is the Wii U, and I play everything on the PC. And I'm like you. I'm not a PC master race kind of guy either. I think as long as everybody's got a place to play their games, that's great. Um, the way that I look at this personally, I think it's hard for me to explain. This all comes down to one question. How is Microsoft and Sony going to force their developers, or not their developers, but the developers that want to publish games on their systems? How is it that they're going to force the developers to meet the lowest common denominator, which would be the original Xbox One and the original PS4? If Microsoft and Sony have a plan in place in order to make sure that that this game will run at 30 frames per second on the originals, then I think that this is great. Will these systems eventually get phased out? That's another question, because if you look at iOS, a lot of times there is, my son uses one of my old iPhones as his Pokemon Go system.
Okay. Yeah.
I turn on my internet sharing, and he connects to that, and we go out for walks, and he collects Pokemon. Now, there are quite a few games out that I can run on my phone that will not install on his because the developers know that it will be a bad performance on that old phone. So somebody in chat, I forgot who it was, they said it a second ago. It was Snow Goes Ham again. He said, I wonder if there will be Scorpio exclusives because of the difference in hardware, kind of like the new 3DS has over the 3DS, because the original 3DS was not as powerful, and then they brought out the quote-unquote new 3DS, and they've had like 2 exclusives. It's not really very many, and if you're going to get a 3DS, it doesn't matter which one you get because most people just turn the 3D off anyway. But there are some systems out there, or some games out there, that you can only play, like Xenoblade Chronicles. You can only play that on the new 3DS. You can't play it on the old one. And I don't think that there was very much backlash against Nintendo for doing that. So if the Xbox Project Scorpio comes out and people can't play the old games on there, then or play the new games on the old systems, I think people are going to be okay with that.
Yeah, I completely see your point, and your point is very valid. I'm obviously talking from a Sony perspective, having an original PlayStation down in the corner. But for me, the Pro was a bit of a failure because of the fact that half the stuff that they brought for the Pro, they're bringing out for a firmware update for the original PS4, which tells me they're going to still support it, which is good, and I still think they'd be stupid not to support it. One of their things was the HDR, or whatever it is. So that's coming as a firmware update, but the 4K gaming, I mean, we said before, I don't have a 4K telly. You said you don't have a 4K telly unless in the time that we spoke about it, things have changed.
No.
I know that your telly broke, but I don't think you went 4K, which most of these consoles are boasting. These new big powerful consoles are boasting this 4K gaming experience, blah 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 blah, and all that sort of stuff. And I just don't, at this point in time when 4K isn't very predominant. I still stand by this, that unless developers show that they have no intent of supporting these old consoles, then stick with the old consoles. I worry about the price tag. I really do. As someone who's bought consoles over the years, for me, more than $400 is too much personally for a console. Um, because I know I can build a PC and a half-tidy PC for $400 or $500, and it will do a lot more than a console. So I'm worried about the price tag. Very, very much worried.
Just one other point before we move on, unless you've got a response, is that building a PC is not something that the average person wants to do, even though as a computer nerd, it's really easy. You can't put things in the wrong spots on computers, right?
No.
It's really easy to build a PC, but the idea of looking at all the ridiculous number of different parts that you can have and which ones are compatible with which, that's not something that the average schmo wants to deal with. And so I don't think that they really have to worry about competition coming from, well, I don't know anything about computers, but I'm going to go ahead and build my own PC instead of buying an Xbox Project Scorpio or a PS4 Pro. And then, so what are those people going to do? Well, are they going to buy a PC? You can't buy a PC. You can build a PC that runs games pretty well, but you can't find a PC that's pre-built that runs these games really well for for a price of less than 500. Really, I don't think you can. I mean, unless you go with those Steam machines maybe, and even them, they have like Linux on them, so then you're walling off a lot of places where you can get your games. So I think right now, because they're trying to compete with the PC, because I feel like Steam has kind of had like this big effect, and we'll talk more about Steam in a little bit, but Steam has had this effect of increasing what people can do with their their gaming libraries. We can get so many games through that, and it's really easy, and we don't have to go to a store, and it makes Steam is making a lot of things very much console like. But you can't go out and you can't go to Best Buy or whatever big box store you have over there and buy a computer for $500 that's going to give you the same that same umph that you can with an Xbox.
Snowham, again, in chat, there's a video of a monkey building a PC, yet some people call it too complicated. And Run Jump makes a very good point, and I am going to back him up on this, as much as I don't like to, but I will, is that console users, all they want is to be able to plug it in, turn it on, play a damn game. That's what console's built for. And some people just don't want the kerfuffle with, let's take my own personal experience over the last couple of months that I've had with my PC. I've had so many problems and not even knowing where to start. I understand computers enough, but that kind of problem and those kind of problems, the average, like you say, the average user wouldn't want, because it's not just parts that you've got to buy; it's then everything else that goes with it. So, yeah, it's the price for me. Run Jump, honestly, is the price tag that will either sell that console or crash it.
So you asked me a question. You said, how much would I pay? And I didn't have a good answer for you. How much is you said 500 is your absolute maximum, or is it?
For about $450. We'll do obviously in dollars, about $450. If it boasts the power and everything that they state, and over the course of its development period doesn't get downgraded in any way, shape, or form, then $450, probably about £400 or just shy of £400. I could see 350, 400 quid. So about $450 for you.
And do you think that the Project Scorpio has to come in at the same price as the PS4 Pro, or do you think it's okay for them to come up with it a little bit higher?
They can come if I've read some of the proposed specs, and it should be higher for what they're chucking inside that box.
All right.
The PS4 Pro doesn't have. It has a harder accelerating. It has a better chip, slightly better graphics unit, obviously because it's got 4K. But there are some serious. There's a lot of stuff about the PS4 Pro that I say go and read first before you jump into it and buy one. because it's not all that it seems.
Fair enough. All right, let's take a look at the next story. This is yours.
Yeah, Ubisoft stopped selling compulsory DLC. Hello, Ubisoft, you've woken up for once. Ubisoft, you're a wonderful company. I've enjoyed some of your games this year. The Division and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. This game really, it's about Siege, really. If you haven't played Rainbow Six Siege, it's on sale now on Steam, and it's an amazing game. It's a 5v5 multiplayer. Um, it's a multiplayer only game, and everyone, when it was launching, was like, "Oh my god, you can't release a game without a story." And they did, and it's a success. But anyway, to the story. So Ubisoft have come out with and basically said that they're going to stop selling compulsory DLC. So what does that mean? That means any content that doesn't further the gameplay, if you like, it'll already be in the game. So for instance, with Siege, I use this game as an example, and it will be brought up a lot as I speak about this. With Siege, all the maps and all the content was thrown in free, like Overwatch is doing, but cosmetically, then that's where you pay in microtransactions. That word scares me a little bit, microtransactions. I have my thing against microtransactions. If it's used correctly, then fair enough. If it's just the skins and all that sort of stuff, no problem. But if there's a pay-to-win aspect, then it's bad. So yeah, basically, round it up is just Ubisoft is saying they're not going to sell expansions to require enjoy the core game experience of its games, but bringing more like cosmetic-based systems in and nothing to affect the gameplay. Just making it so you can enjoy the game, get on with it, and then go from there. And I think this is a really good idea. I think that season passes are a waste of time. I think a lot of DLC that comes out is rubbish. I think that DLC that does drop, you might get 4 DLC packs over the course of a game's lifespan, and one may be worth buying out of the 4. So I think that if this is going to work, the monetization, as in microtransactions, needs to be done correctly. Cosmetic skins, gun skins. If we're talking about first-person shooter, gun skins, nothing to improve gameplay or give you that upper hand over other players. So I kind of like this. I don't know what you say, Runjump.
I think that this is a good thing personally because 90% of the time I don't buy DLC for games. I don't have like an aversion to it or anything. I play the game, and then by the time DLC comes out, I'm usually done with the game and I want to move on to something else. I've got a very short attention span when it comes to video games, unless it's an MMO. That being said, one of the really good things about this particular story is that means, especially on a multiplayer game or a multiplayer focused game, that means that you are not splintering your player base into the haves and the have-nots. Oh, well, Zap has this DLC pack where you can go to this other map, and I don't. So that means we can't play together unless I go out and spend another $40. That always really bothered me. There's really not much that you can do to get around that, though, unless you always give it away for free. Because there's always going to be people who don't buy the DLC, and they're going to be left out. So yeah. I really like the way that like you said earlier, that Blizzard's doing it with Overwatch. They add in new heroes, they add in new maps, they add in new map styles, and all of that stuff is for everybody that bought the game, and they're depending on people buying loot boxes so they can get skins in order to continually monetize the game. They're also probably depending on esports advertising in order to help monetize the game. These companies, making video games has become a very expensive proposition, and they have to find a way to make up that cost, because if you look at it, and maybe somebody in chat can actually do this research while we're talking about it. When I was a kid, video games were $50 for a video game. So you would go out and you would save up $50 and you would buy a video game. Now that's back in the we'll say 1987, okay? In 1987, shut up. In 1987, you could go out and you could buy a game for $50. Now, since 1987, which is a really long friggin' time ago, the game prices has only gone up $10. So now we're paying $60 for a game. Now I'm not talking about what do they call it? The season pass. Yeah, I'm not talking about season pass stuff. I'm just talking about you going out and you just buy a game, and generally it's roughly $60, and that is, in today's dollars, that is a whole lot less when you look at inflation. $60 is a lot less than $1987, if that makes sense. So these companies, not only is the amount that they're charging for video games actually going down over time, because they're not raising the price, because if they did, people would riot in the streets, but their costs of making said game are going up because gamers are expecting more and more and more. So they have to find a way to monetize somewhere. And if they have to do that through microtransactions, I'm exactly like you, as long as they don't affect the gameplay, I'm all for it, and I think it's a good thing. I want people who make video games to make money, because if they don't, they're not going to make any more video games. That's why I'm against pirating them. So that's just the way that I look at it, and I think that, I'm happy that Ubisoft is doing this. I just hope that they don't go out of business.
No, I think I stand by this. I don't like microtransaction in AAA titles, but I don't class Rainbow Six Siege as a AAA title. It just comes with a multiplayer. It's just a multiplayer game, but it's a very good multiplayer game, and that's my point. Very good game. Bingo, right? So you've got a massively good game with depths of can be played on it. You can really go to ham on that game, where you can get some serious. You get a team of 5 with you, and you can really go to town on it. They made a solid game. You make a solid game, people are going to put money in because they want the latest skins. They're going to want the latest thing to make their character look cool. Let's take an MMO for an example. Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 real endgame content isn't fractals or raids. It's fashion wars. Everyone knows that. So you want to spend the money on, and I'm all for that. If that money helps those developers directly to bring us better content, and I found that actually from a friend of mine. We were having this massive discussion about microtransaction in games, and it was kind of him that kind of switched me around a little bit. Hearthstone, the game that I adore, was actually made and paid for from microtransactions from World of Warcraft.
Oh, really? Oh, so like when they sell mounts and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. That money directly went into making Hearthstone, which then I funded Blizzard's pockets majorly.
So and then Overwatch probably came from only from Zap buying card decks in Hearthstone.
I basically have 100% share stake in Overwatch.
Oh, it's too bad you're not getting any of that money back.
All my life. But this is my whole point. If microtransactions can feel good, then I'm all for it. Where it's bad, let's take Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. That series is one of my most loved series in the world. They added microtransactions to their online mode. People said you don't need to pay for an extra online base or whatever it was, but to get the full effect, to have a chance against these guys you had to put money in. It's like, I've just paid $60 for this game. So, if they do it right, hats off to them. If they screw it up, I hope they go out of business.
Well, I don't think that they can. Well, yeah, it all depends on what their microtransactions look like. So you got a good point there. All right, let's move on to the next story. The next story is that eBay made a whole bunch of money off the NES Classic debacle. So, by the way, have you been able to find the NES Classic?
No, I nearly just spat my coffee across my string when I just saw the price of sales.
Yeah.
What?
All right, so...
no, I went into my local game today and I asked about it, and they were like, sorry, we sold out yeah, we won't get one in for, well, we don't know when. Well, that's a lot of good, aren't it? You know, Jesus.
Yeah, they sold out all right. Apparently, this is a report from eBay. eBay said that it sold an NES Classic console every 18 seconds on launch day. So the day that it came out, every 18 seconds, somebody was buying one of these on eBay because they couldn't get one in the stores. Now, you might ask yourself, okay, well, how much money were they spending on this thing? Well, let me just explain. The NES Classic is a little tiny plastic Nintendo Entertainment System that has the original controller with a little tiny little cord. It's ridiculous, and well, I'm not going to get into that. It's got 30 games on it, and you pay $60 for it. And I think just as a collector's item, it's worth $60. But apparently, to some people, it's worth a lot more. The average, notice this is the average. This is not the high. This is not the low. This is the average sale price, was $230 for this little NES with HDMI out and 30 games on it. $230. Now, somebody did some fast napkin math, and I don't have it in front of me. But I remember talking about this on the other podcast, Switchcraft. But the napkin math said that basically eBay made 40% of the of the NESs sold, Nintendo would have made X dollars, and eBay made 40% of that X number by just being the middleman that people were selling through. In fact, on the number of consoles that would have been sold on eBay on that day, sorry, I got distracted by chat. That's you, Zap. All right, I'll look at that in a second.
Yeah, I would.
So, of those consoles sold, somebody figured out how many that would probably be if it sold every 18 seconds. Nintendo would have made like $180,000 on those consoles, and the people selling them on eBay made, gosh, what was it? It was like, if it was 230 average, it was like $700,000. So, like, Nintendo's making less money than of course they're being scalped, but Nintendo's making less money than the scalpers. What's this link that you posted?
It says about one selling for $5,000.
Well, okay, so it says updated. It says it sold. Somebody actually.
Down the bottom of it, it said the sad thing is it sold.
It did sell, and that's interesting.
Yeah, which for $5,000 for a small piece of plastic. Can I have one now, please? I'll take 3. No, I'll take 10.
What do you think about this story, man?
I'm raging inside. This is one. I feel sorry for Nintendo. No,
well,
actually,
don't feel sorry for them.
I don't feel sorry for Nintendo because you should have made enough. Come on, Nintendo, you knew this was going to sell. You knew that this was going to do something. Seriously, 30 classic games from the era where some of those games were like the coolest of cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
You pop this all out, and we even looked at getting this for my daughter for Christmas. And I said I wouldn't. I'd wait till after Christmas because you might be able to get one. I said because I said to my wife, I said Nintendo never make enough stock. They just won't. They just won't make. Just won't make enough stock. And what do you know? Here we are seeing on eBay they're selling for $230. Apparently one sold for $5,000. Well, there you go, Nintendo. You just lost out on a lot of money, and it's your own damn fault for not making enough. Clearly, you just don't understand that Nintendo are one of these game companies that people love and adore. Not just because that it has some great titles, but because nostalgia. Nostalgia is a weird and wonderful thing. It will make you buy a $60 console for $5,000, apparently. But that's my point. Nostalgia. And every time you say Nintendo, your instant head goes, I'm now playing an Italian plumber called Mario. I'm playing Zelda. Pokemon. Anything that reminds me of my childhood is surrounded by Nintendo and Sony, those kind of things. And if somebody bought out, not that they would have the brain power to do this, a Sony Classic PS1 console with 30 games loaded onto it, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. I wanted to buy one of these Nintendo Classic things. And this scares me for the Switch. It scares me so much that if it comes to March next year, or when it's supposed to be released, they don't have enough consoles to meet demands. That console could have a serious effect on the console. You know, isn't it better to? I mean, I have this attitude at work, and I deal with fresh produce, not stuff that won't go out of date. Isn't it better to have a little bit more stock than you're going to run out? Isn't it better to meet that demand and have a little bit left over? Surely that's a better attitude.
Yeah. Abby in chat says something, and I see this bandied about a lot when people talk about Nintendo, is that they do it on purpose in order to have artificial scarcity. I don't think that that's necessarily true. Snow Goes Ham has a good point because Nintendo loses money by doing that. I think what really is the case here, and first off, for the Famicom version that came out in Japan, you could pre-order it. Okay.
Really?
Yes, you could pre-order the Famicom version. This is Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Europe that decided how many of these to order from Nintendo of Japan. So they said, well, I think that we can move this many. And I don't think it's because they're sitting there twirling their mustache saying, we're really going to get them this time. I think what's really happening is Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Europe, their market analysis, when they're looking at this, they're like, look, we don't want to have another case where we've got things sitting on shelves collecting dust, because that's embarrassing. So I want to make sure that we don't order too many, because and Nintendo has always been a very conservative company when it comes to how many things that they make. The Amiibos are evidence of that. All right, when the Amiibos came out, there were certain ones you just could not find anywhere because they were so popular and there were so few of them. And this was because Nintendo of America wasn't ordering enough of them. Nintendo of Europe wasn't ordering enough of them. If you wanted to order them from Japan, you could get them, no problem. You could just order them from Japan. It's in exactly the same figure. It was in a box that had Japanese writing on it instead. You open it up and it works exactly the same. Nintendo of Japan, they order as many as they think that they need, and clearly whoever's in charge there needs to tell the guys in charge of America and Europe, look, you've got to do better analysis on how many of these that you're going to order, so that we don't have this problem where there's money that is being left on the table. It's just sitting there and you're not taking it. And the one thing that Nintendo could have done in order to fix this, there's only one thing that they needed to do and would have fixed everything, is just take pre-orders. Just say, all right, we're opening up our website. You can go in there. You can give us your $60 now. And as soon as we make one, it will arrive at your house. And then as soon as they do that, they turn on the website and they see that number going up like crazy. They can say, all right, turn on the second machine. And, there's like some guy sitting over there and he flips a switch. And when he flips that switch, the second machine that starts spitting out these little plastic boxes turns on, and you have more stuff being made. That's all that they need to do. And if they don't do that, they're going to run into the same problem with the Switch, and that really has me nervous, because I don't want to have to wait outside in March when it's really nasty.
I just don't understand it. I don't. Nintendo do it all the time. And here's a little interesting thing that where I used to live, and I do in this town actually as well. We have a local independent game shop, which is rare. You think in America, if people say to me that butcher shops are rare in America, I'd love to know if you have near you independent game shops. So we're not talking GameStop. We're not talking any. We're talking guy who set up his own business and is making a living from selling computer games.
Yeah, we do have those nearby. There's one about an hour from me, but then again, everything's about an hour from me because I live in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, we do have those around here.
So the guy that ran this shop in my old town, I got to know him very well. I bought a lot of stock from him, and when the Nintendo released and announced the Wii U, he wasn't allowed any units of the Wii U because he was too small. And Nintendo, whoever it was, Europe, I suppose, would have been for us, the guy that was dealing with I can't think what it's called. The salesman from Nintendo would get in contact with him, and they'd say, "No, sorry, we're very scared. We haven't got enough products. We're going to the big boys like Game and all this, that, and the other. Sorry, but you can't have any. You're too small." And he had pre-orders for Nintendo on the basis that he would be able to get some Wii's. And it just hurts a lot of business. And in the Nintendo the little game shop, this is where a convoluted story, but the game shop that in this town are not taking Switch pre-orders because they don't think they can get consoles, which scares me. I want to buy them from my local shop. I want to support local businesses. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a small business. I'm in a local business. I want to support them, and they don't think they can get a Switch because they're too small compared to my local supermarket, who could probably get a Switch. I don't want to support them. So
Yeah.
Nintendo, please just get your act together. Just do something right for once. Stop being stupid.
Just to respond to what you were just saying about Nintendo not selling to smaller companies, I think this comes from the fact that they used to be king in retail. Like, you went into retail and they were just everywhere. And then slowly but surely, they slowly got pushed out because their content wasn't as popular. Even if it was really, really good stuff, it's just not as popular. You walk into a GameStop here, they've got a giant wall of Xbox One games. They've got a giant wall of PS4 games. And they've got a little tiny section of Nintendo games. And Nintendo has to pay them. And they have to negotiate that stuff in order to make sure that they have a place on the wall in the shop. And if they don't do those negotiations, then they don't get to be on the shelf at a GameStop. And the reason that I think that small companies like your friends, they get screwed out of being able to carry product, especially at launch, is because probably the brick and mortar retailers are telling Nintendo, look, if you want us to carry it, you're not going to be selling it to mom and pop shops. You're going to sell it at our shop, and you're only going to sell it at our shop. And, then maybe Target says, listen, you can't only sell it at GameStop. We're big too. And so you got to sell it with us. And so Nintendo says, well, look, okay, we'll sell it to all the big shops, but maybe, and I don't know if this is true. This is just my gut calling. The small businesses, they don't have any power over Nintendo, but the retailers do. But Nintendo's choosing to let the brick and mortar retailers have power over them. All they have to do is open up their own store online, and all these brick and mortar retailers would say, well, wait a second. No, we want to carry your stuff. But Nintendo they could very easily turn the tables by opening their own store, but they don't. And I don't understand why that is.
Could you imagine a Nintendo store in your local mall?
I don't know that they would. That'd be tough. Like, at our local mall, it's really expensive to get rent to rent a place in a mall. And the idea of, I mean, Apple does it, but Apple's stuff is so expensive that they can make back the overhead that they do. So I don't know that Nintendo could make enough money.
My point was really that they would have no stock because Nintendo doesn't make enough.
Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. So we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Any points in chat we need to pick up?
I don't think so. I think that they're kind of saying the same stuff that we are.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. We talked about that story for a long time, way longer than I thought we would. Why don't you tell us about this next one, which looks really interesting?
I was waiting for us to get told by chat that we're talking too long. Not offended at all. So, guys, if you're waiting to play Final Fantasy 15, stay away from the internet. No, listen to us, but stay away from the internet.
Yeah, we're not the internet.
yeah, this is spoiler free. I haven't played it. I'm so disappointed. And Square Enix have even come out and said something about this. Apparently, they've said stay away from the internet as well. But the Final Fantasy 15's ending has been leaked. There's a massive Reddit thread. There's videos on YouTube on it. So if you Google Final Fantasy 15, the first things that come up at the minute are the massive Reddit threads about the ending, the damn ending of Final Fantasy 15, and everything else about the game. Now, for me, as a Final Fantasy fanboy, I'm steering clear. As I said to you earlier, I pre-ordered um, Final Fantasy 15. I have two safe bets with pre-orders. I stand against pre-orders on most things. FIFA 17 is one of those safe bets, or FIFA and a Final Fantasy game. You kind of know what you're getting with those games.
Yeah.
I see Snowgo Hams is no longer listening because he gets Alt F4. Anyway, so for me, they're safe bets, if that makes sense. I know what I'm getting. I'm going to be highly disappointed with FIFA, and I hope I'm not going to be highly disappointed with Final Fantasy. So when I saw that the ending had been leaked, it was like, really? Come on. So the leak originally happened in Peru, was where it actually came from.
I knew it!
Yeah, the damn Peru! You know that. So basically, Peru got their dates mixed up and thought Tuesday was the 29th. No, that was the 22nd, Peru. Today is the 23rd. Yesterday was the 22nd. So
Wait. So somebody beat the game in one day?
Basically, they played it non-stop. But let me just say, before anybody gets a bit, they only did the main story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they only did the story, and Final Fantasy, the way Final Fantasy games work, they're all the same. They kind of, the monsters scale with you. So if you keep your guys low enough, it's easy to beat. You know, it's easy to beat. It's easy. You know, so you know, it's not like Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Bloodborne where there is a difficulty level, and you know, no matter how good you think you are, you'll get beaten anyway. Final Fantasy, the level, it kind of scales with how your party's doing, and it gets harder and harder to the point where you get to a cap, and then once you go over that cap, you become overpowered. So, but that takes a lot of grinding in Final Fantasy games. I've done that in my Final Fantasy X, and that took 170 to 200 hours to get to the point where I was overpowered, and I could literally just fly through the game. But this makes me sad. So yeah, Peru leaked it first, and then Europe, apparently some European countries were like, we're not being outdone by Peru. Here you go, customers. Have Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, great. But apparently England was not one of those. I have not. It was being streamed on Twitch. Square Enix has taken them all down. There is an NDA out until for Monday. No information should be posted about the game reviews or anything until Monday.
Well, but if I bought the game, I didn't sign an NDA. I should be able to stream it if I want.
Yeah, very true. But Square Enix has actually, they spoke to Twitch, and Twitch removed it.
Oh, okay.
They removed everything to do with Final Fantasy 15, which for me, I think is a good thing, because we've been waiting 10 years. 10 years for this game. I'm not having the ending spoiled by some...
That's been... When did the last Final Fantasy... It came out 10 years ago?
No. This was announced 10 years ago.
Final Fantasy 15.
Announced 10 years ago.
So when did Final... Okay, so Final Fantasy 14 was the MMO one, right?
MMO, yeah.
So
Final
13...
Fantasy 11...
So we had 13
11,
on the Xbox 360 and PS3, and then there was 13.2 and 13.3.
Yep.
And when did 13.3 come out?
No idea. This was announced for the PS3 originally, and then they moved 15 over to the PS4. But it was originally announced that they would be doing Final Fantasy 15 10 years ago. That's the development cycle for a Final Fantasy game. That's why I don't want the ending spoiled. So bad on you, whoever spoiled it. I haven't seen it, which is good. So yeah, that's Final Fantasy 15 spoiled. So if you want to go watch it, find it on YouTube.
Just so everybody knows, there are, if you use Chrome as your web browser, there are web extensions that you can use where you can put in a filter. And I did this when Star Wars was coming out, the new Star Wars movie, because we couldn't go see it on day one, or we hadn't planned on being able to see it on day one. We went anyway. But when the new Star Wars movie was coming out, I put Star Wars as a filter, and it never, like, it blocks anytime anybody says anything about Star Wars. If I went to that website, it would bring up a web page that would say, you can't go. It would warn you that this is going to have spoilers ahead, so make sure that you want to click on it before you do. So if you want to avoid the spoilers for Final Fantasy 15, then look for one of those Chrome extensions that blocks stuff like that.
My family have just got back. Is it okay if we can just take a very quick break?
Yeah, we'll take a break. I'll put on some music, and we will see you guys when we get back.
Thank you.
Well, that was convenient. My wife wanted to talk to me about something while at the same time that he had to get up. So what I think I'm going to do, guys, is, because I totally forgot to even use the timers, is I'm only going to use them for lightning stories. Because I really feel like the conversations need to resolve themselves on their own without us rushing it. So when we get to the lightning round stories, that's when I'm going to turn on that timer so that we can see it and keep an eye on things.
Hello.
Oh, okay, you're back. 1 second, let me...
Yeah. I got, so there'll be a little bit of noise. I don't know if you want to crack on straight away. There's going to be a little bit of noise in the background with the kids wandering around.
Oh, that's okay.
So...
You okay, buddy?
Sorry. Yeah. I'll explain what my wife has just shown me. My wife has been given a stocking, a surprise Christmas thing that she got to get for one of her colleagues at work.
Okay.
Secret Santa. And I won't exactly announce the title right now, but the woman that she's got this present for is you wouldn't expect. She doesn't talk about those kind of subjects, if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So she got her a book saying it's something, do yourself slim. And some of the things in there are hilarious.
Nice.
Anyway, let's crack on.
All right. So are we done with the spoiler thing?
Yeah, stay off the internet.
Stay off the internet, everybody. Nobody's allowed on the internet. Everybody hit Alt F4 right now, just like Snow.
No, wait till we finish podcast. Oh, too late.
All right.
There goes the view account.
That's okay. That's all right. Let's go. I just do this so that I have an excuse to hang out with Zap.
Oh,
That's right. All right. So the next story is the Smock Z. Now, have you heard of this?
No, but no, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say.
All right. Fair enough. I'm curious now. You'll have to tell me after the show. So the Smock Z is a portable steam machine. It's got basically the layout of the Steam controller. So it's got the two big circle pads. It's got the ABXY, and then it's got a little thumbstick down on the left, and it looks really cool. It looks a little thick, but they do say in this video that I'm showing right now, if you're watching, if you're listening, just go to the show notes and you'll see it on a link to it. But basically, this thing looks kind of neat. They have not yet announced a price, as far as I know. I do know. Oh wait, no, yes they have. It's on Indiegogo. Okay, I thought that was the price for. That's not the price. That's not the price. That's how much they raised in money. I was like, for those of you that are listening, when I clicked on it, it said $516,429 US. I was like, are you out of your mind? But no, that's how much money they raised. So if you want to get one when it actually launches, it's $325 US.
So that would be in Queen's English, like 280, 270 pounds.
Right. So I don't think that's too expensive. They do show in the video that I have in the show notes. They show the stats. They also have a pro version. They say that they're going to make it slimmer. It's got USB ports. You can hook up a mouse and keyboard to the dang thing if you want. They say it's got 5 hours of battery life, and they also have what was the other thing that I said? I said slimmer. They also show like this game is running this many frames per second at these settings on this machine. It's also it's got a 1080p screen, and it looks like you can hook it up to a computer as well, or a computer monitor as well, so you can play on that. So it's kind of cool. Like right now, they were just showing in the video. Let me go back one. Yeah, Skyrim 720p, high settings, 25 frames per second on a device that you can carry around in your hands. That's kind of cool for that price. I think that's a little high for that price, but I don't know if that's the original Skyrim or the new Skyrim with the whiz-bang stuff or not. But I just thought that this was a really neat thing, and I like that Steam is making it so that a company can make a device like this, where you don't have to be depending. You don't have to buy this item from the big manufacturers. You can buy it from somebody who's smaller, and these guys are basically just building a little handheld PC.
Yeah, I think the price is too high. Personally, I originally thought it was like a copy of Nintendo Switch. I honestly thought it was like a Mickey take of a Nintendo Switch. When I first looked at it, I was like, what the hell? And then sat and looked at it properly and was like, oh, okay. Not bad, not bad. I just think it's going to be a little bit too expensive. I don't know, because with stuff like this, you need to obviously hands-on feel. And again, it goes back to a controller. At the end of the day, it's got to feel good in the hands. And for 290 quid, I want it to feel good in the hand. If you know what I mean. That's the whole point.
Hey, phrasing!
That's a lot of money to, and if it feels ugly, I mean, let me show you. This is the 360 controller, and secondly, I'm not buying it because they've got the wrong 4 buttons, A, X, Y, and whatever the one is, B. That's incorrect. No, X, square, circle, triangle is the correct format for those buttons. Oh, don't anybody know these things? I got a 360 controller in my hand, and I hate it. I really don't like the feel. That kind of reminds me a little bit of that. I've never held. Also reminds me like of a Wii U. I've never held the Wii U unit myself. So if it feels good in the hands and is not too bad, fair enough. I just think that out of the box, that's a little bit expensive on it, if that makes sense. I just think it's just going to be a bit. But at the same time, on the flip side, if it comes out and can run these games at decent, because I mean, 30 frames per second isn't too bad. It's a playable, frame rate for a handheld console. And if they play well, then I'll eat my hat.
Yeah. The way I look at this, there's a couple things. First off, Blight Me has a very good point that there's the NVIDIA Shield. Now, the reason I never really considered that as a good alternative to having that as a quote-unquote Steam machine is because the controller. It's got 2 sticks, and there's too many games that you would play from Steam that would be like mouse keyboard kind of games, and you can't play with those sticks. Now, I have used the Steam controller extensively, and I can say that this is a very good replacement for mouse keyboard. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. There's many games that I won't play with this, but there's a lot more games that I'll play using this kind of controller than I would using one that had 2 sticks instead. That being, that point aside, this price is a little high. This is also their crowdfunding price. That tells me that it might actually go higher. I think that the device looks cool. If they can't get it into stores, people are not going to buy it. Nope. And the reason that I like the idea of this is because I've got like 300 and some games on Steam. So that makes this a really good buy for me. One of the reasons I like Steam so much is because I can upgrade, and all of the games that I have will move forward with me because they're tied to my account, not my machine. That doesn't work with consoles. So that's another reason why this is really cool to me. Do I think it's going to succeed? Probably not, but I still think it's really cool looking.
That's fair enough.
All right, let's take a look at the last story before the lightning round. I had no idea what this was about. Like, the phrasing was weird, so I haven't looked at this. So tell me what is going on.
Zap wafts on, which is pretty much everyday occurrence. Basically, it's all about the world of Final Fantasy. And I wanted just to spend 5 minutes just talking about what an amazing game that is. As simple as that. This is all it is. I had some money left on my PSN account. I put the E3 trailer in the show notes so if people want to see, without spoiling anything, because it's one of these games that you don't want to spoil. It's ridiculously cute. I hate cute games, but this thing really does. It really has got so much heart and so much soul. Basically, it's Pokemon in the Final Fantasy world. And seriously, what they've done and how they've done it is just amazing. And when you see, and what else they've done is they brought a lot of characters back from Final Fantasy 1, 2. I think they skipped 3 for some weird reason. There's some characters from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are all in there. 12.
All
13.
Of the numbers.
Yeah, like loads. Yeah, except from 3. For some weird reason, I don't understand why they skipped 3. But there is a lot of, and these main characters from those games come back as what they call champions. I will explain this a little bit. And you can, and they're your summons. Every Final Fantasy game has a summon of some description, and these are like your summons. And yeah, it's just an absolutely fun game. The core mechanic of this game is you go around collecting these things, which you can see on the screen standing on their heads. They're called mirages. And it is just essentially them going around catching Pokemon. The game you have to compare it to is Pokemon, and I will say something towards the end of what I'm about to say about this. With a comparison to Pokemon, if you like. But this itself, um, it's very good, and it deserves some serious like credit to the guys who sat down and went, "I want to make a spin-off series, but how do we do it?" Because you've got all sorts of manner of spin-off series. You've got Final Fantasy Tactics out there, and there's some other ones where the brawlers and stuff like that. So you got the Kingdom Hearts. It has an ATB, an active time battle system, very similar to Final Fantasy X. But yeah, it's very good, very very good. And I just can't say much more about it except from go out and catch some Mirages, Pokemon Mirages they're called.
All right, so let me ask you a question. There's or maybe a couple questions. It feels like they've got like 5 different art styles in this game. What is going on there? Like they've got like these little. It looks like they made a deal with, I don't know what the name of that company is that makes the little
Funko
figures.
Pops things.
Yeah, what was that? Something Pop?
Yeah, Funko Pop.
Yeah, Funko Pop. It looks like they went out and made a deal with Funko Pop in order to get like that. It looks like they've got Funko Pop characters in here, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another time where you see the same characters and they don't look like the Funko Pop characters anymore. And then there's yet a third art style. Are all those art styles in there, or is like part of that
no,
just
they're all in it.
cutscenes, or what?
I'll hold up the best handheld console in the world. It's called the Vita. Basically, you can change from. I don't know how well this is going to come across on camera, but you can see currently that I've got one tall one and one small one, and that can be changed at any time. And what that does is it changes your way your battle. You go into battle. If your characters are big, they'll go in big. If they go in small, put the 3DS down, all right? If you go in small, they go in small. And if they go in small, you then can have a how does it work? If they go in large, you can then have a medium Mirage and a small Mirage on top of your head, which is just ridiculous. I mean, when I looked at this battle mechanic, I was like, what are they doing? Why are we building totems? And then if you're large, you can only have a small one. No, if you're small, you can only have you can only have one more on top of your head. So if you're small, you can have 2. If you're big, you have 3.
Okay.
And then you can also be on top of large Mirages and stuff like that. So, but it adds a depth because what that does is, if you're individual, each character can fight individually, but they'll have all their stats separate. As soon as you put them on top of each other, it's called stacking. All your HP, AP, so your health and your action points and everything else.
Pull together?
Yeah, they all pull together. So does the
okay.
resistance and the resistances, which then mix up. You can also make certain combinations with like magic. So if you have 3 fire Mirages on top of each other, you can make your 3 stage fires or 4 stage fires in Final Fantasy. So it really adds a lot of depth and mechanic to the actual battling system that you haven't seen in a Final Fantasy game before. And I think this whole stacking method allows them to do that because, you'll have, in previous Final Fantasies, you can go out and collect monsters and stuff like that, but they never really developed it properly. And I think this really gives the developers of the Final Fantasy series a chance to just go nuts with the idea of capturing monsters and training them and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it's a really good thing. But, there is a but.
Uh-oh.
The game will fail.
What do you mean?
And the reason being, the game will fail because it's not advertised enough. It's not.
You know what? I totally agree with you because you said World of Final Fantasy, and immediately, for some reason, I don't know why, but I thought that this was a game that was for this system right here, and I'm holding up my cell phone. I thought it was a cell phone game because I've got like, I don't know, 4 or 5, or maybe not 4 or 5. I probably have 2 or 3 different spin-off Final Fantasy games on my phone that I've tried and kind of been like, well, that's kind of garbage and moving on. Not that I don't like Final Fantasy games, because I absolutely do. But I thought it was... I had no idea about it. But that's also because I'm not part of that... Like, I don't have a Vita, and I don't have a PS4. When you turn on your PS4, do they tell you about games that are coming out for the system?
No.
Okay, that's something that they should do. A lot of people would get angry about that, and they'd be like, hey, don't put advertisements on my stuff. Guess what? I cannot count the number of times that my son has come in to the room and said, "Hey, did you know that such and such a game is coming out on my for the Wii U?" Because he turned it on and got an advertisement for it. That doesn't bother me. You know, it's not using up any of my time. It's just a little splash screen when I turn it on, and that's something that Sony should do. And gosh, they could even make some money by charging the developers, "Hey, we'll let you advertise." I opened up Steam this morning when I was looking for something to put on my wish list, and at the very top, they had Dishonored 2 in a very prominent spot, advertising that game had come out. Okay, and that's a really good thing to do in order to get people to notice a game. So I agree, this game has not gotten very much promotion at all, and I think that's a big mistake because I had not heard of it, and it looks really good. My second question was, so you're collecting these, what are they called? Mirages.
Yeah.
Are the Mirages like, okay, so I saw Cloud and I saw Squall and I saw Lightning. Are those the Mirages, or are those your characters?
They're your champions. So they're your summons. And you collect them as you go through the game, or you do something and all of a sudden you can use these to summon these main characters. So Tidus is a summon.
So they're your
Squall.
Pokemon.
No, so this is where it gets really confusing. Your Mirages, your Mirages are your average monsters that you find in the battles. So your Malbros and your Goblins or whatever. So you can go around and collect those. Then you do certain missions and you get access to the champions, which then can be summoned to be used in battle to help you. So there's a lot of deep mechanics to the system. But like you say, it's just not advertised enough. And Sony do that with so many products. PSTV, the Vita, it's all not advertised properly, and that's what's the issue for me with So it's a great game, and if you ever have a chance, and hopefully they'll port it to the PC, you want to play it.
Yes, that's what I need to happen. Definitely, especially because I saw you posted in the Discord that picture of the Marlboro from. Marlboro. I feel weird saying that because that's a brand of cigarettes here. So every time I see Marlboro, I think I'm saying it wrong. But okay, Marlboro. When I saw that picture, I was like, "Oh my god, I got to have that game!" But I can't play that.
Yeah, that's
game.
fine. Yeah, that's Final Fantasy 15. That looks incredible. I can't wait for it to come out.
All right,
apparently
let's
Twitch has been.
Yeah, I
Twitch
think
has been a bit weird.
I think it's me. I got 1 million people in my house because we've got Thanksgiving tomorrow, and I think they're using the internet.
Tell them to stop.
I know. We're just about done though. Anyway, we've got the lightning round, so let's go ahead and take a look at the stories in the lightning round. So I've got 2 links that I'm gonna put in chat for you guys, and these are. The first one, I just hit the wrong button, is a link for cheap Steam controllers and a cheap Steam Link. The Steam controller and the carrying case come together for $35. That's really cheap for a really good controller. And you can get the Steam Link, which allows you to play anything from your Steam library on your TV as long as you're in the same house for $20. And these are on sale right now. So definitely get out there and pick one up if this kind of stuff is interesting to you. Even if you don't want the Steam controller, the Steam Link, if you've got a TV that you want to play the games off your computer on, that'd be really awesome for $20. And if you know a gamer, that would be a really good gift for them because we really like the Steam Link at my house. You gonna get one or no?
No, because it's 70 quid in the UK.
Oh, it's only cheap here.
Yeah. So you can buy one, send it to me. That's fine.
Oh, sure.
No, I don't mind. But it's like seriously ridiculous over here. So no.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. Why are you telling me stories like that, Run Jump?
All right. What's the next one?
So this one. So Outlast 2 developers have got a new Kickstarter. It's for underwear. Couldn't resist putting it. It's hilarious. So basically, Outlast 2 is a very scary game, and
Well, hold on. Should I click this link? Oh, it's YouTube,
it's completely
so it's
clean.
fine.
Yeah, it's completely clean. It's from GameSpot, and basically they've made some underwear so you can stop pooping yourself and you Outlast 2. That's brilliant, and now you can see why I had to put this in. Because yeah, why not? Red Barrels have basically said they're going to. It's 100% real and inspired by by the Outlast community, that they basically want them to kickstart underpants.
Whoever tweeted this right here, hide your kids, hide your wife, get your diapers, get your headphones. It's coming. That's hilarious. I haven't played this game because scary games aren't my thing, but I kind of want to play this game because scary games aren't my thing, if that makes any sense at all.
But make sure you obviously get involved in the Kickstarter campaign for a new pair of pants first.
They do have an ultra mesh sewage suppressor called the Butt Grid. They've got the liquid the liquid lock. All right, I'm just gonna drop this link in chat.
The chat haven't realised what we're talking about. Yeah, they're still talking about the Steam controller. We're talking about underpants. Midnight Brown absorb separation resistant fabric.
Midnight Brown.
Sorry, Midnight Brown out. What? Middle morph stretch waistband, and then a liquid locket, elastic thigh portal. And that's the basic one.
All right.
Yeah, apparently it's really scary. You need new underpants. So there you go. That's my story for the lightning rounds.
All right, we got two more. The next one is Overwatch. This is not as funny, but really awesome. Overwatch updated. We talked again earlier about how Overwatch keeps giving us free content. They just brought out a new hero, Sombra. She's a hacker. She can go invisible, and she can hack people's abilities so they can't use them. Have you used her yet?
I have. I love her.
She's my favorite.
Not literally. I just love using. No, hang on. What? However, I'm going to say this sentence. It sounds wrong. I love using Sombra.
Yeah, she's my favorite character in the game. My favorite up until then was Mei, and then Reinhardt was second after her, or after Mei. But I absolutely love playing with Sombra. I feel like she's got so much potential for really high end skill ceiling that you can have a lot of fun with her. And I really like the new arcade area as well, where they've got all the different brawls and stuff that you can do. My son and I were playing the other day, and we had a lot of fun in Overwatch. So if you haven't checked out Sombra, definitely check her out because she's great.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just before we move on from the Overwatch, apparently Reinhardt's getting a nerf, or they nerfed him, or they have nerfed him. I have seen some news about Reinhardt getting nerfed or being nerfed, or whether that's console, because I know they're doing nerfs differently to console to PC, which is fair enough because of how you control your characters, keyboard, mouse, and twin sticks. Sombra is amazing. The new arcade, so hats off Blizzard. You've done a really, really, really solid job with your Overwatch stuff. And could there be the PvE content that we all now want? Because I would play the hell out of Overwatch if there's a PvE mode.
Yeah, I was talking to, and I promise I'll wrap this up quick, but I was talking to a friend of mine. He was doing a raid, and I said, you know what would be really cool is if they had dungeons in Overwatch where there was like a boss that you all had to fight, and you had to bring a tank, a defense. You had to bring 4 characters. And one from each of those things, and you went through, and maybe there was a boss where having Reinhardt out in front with a shield would be really important, or maybe there was a boss where being able to pull the monster around the map while the rest of your team are doing their job So you would use the hook guy. I can never remember his name. And I really like him.
Roadhog.
Roadhog. Yeah. You would use Roadhog for that. I think that they've got a really they potentially could really turn the first-person shooter genre on its head by applying the things that they've learned from making encounters in World of Warcraft and applying it to Overwatch. That would be amazing for me. I don't think it'll ever happen, but they could. And Blizzard, if you're listening, which I know you are, make sure that you do that. All right, what's your next story?
I just want to do a couple of special mentions before I do my last story. Steam sales. There is an autumn Steam sale, so prepare for your wallets to be emptied. There's some cracking games on there, though I do have to ask this. There are apparently some Steam awards, which I'm going to look at next week if they're still going. No Man's Sky is up for a Steam award. I will be discussing this next week, because no way in hell does that game deserve any awards. But apparently it's up for an award, and it's on Steam sale, so if you want to go try that game, it's on sale now. But Steam sales are on, so go out and have a look at what's in there. They got a lot of great stuff. We're also getting close to Christmas, so the Christmas sales, the winter sales will be on soon as well. And second special mention is the Guild Wars 2 update, Cracking the Ice. My God, ArenaNet, I love you. It's an amazing update. Well done. Hats off to you so much.
I can't believe, did we not talk about that?
No, that's why I put it in a special mention right before I'm going to do my last story. But Cracking the Ice has been fantastic. The new map is beautiful.
The map is amazing.
Yeah. Everything about that update has been amazing. I felt the story was a little bit...
I haven't finished the story, so don't say anything.
I won't spoil anything for you, but it's very different from what we've experienced so far. So,
all right.
You know, finish it. Tell us what you think when you finish it. But my actual story is hackers get charged. And this is something I'm very, very happy about. And we talk about passionate subjects, and this is the subject I tried not to put into the lightning round, but I wanted to because I didn't want to spend too long on it. Hackers convicted after stealing $16 million in FIFA coins. Just stop for a second and $16 million.
What can you buy with FIFA coins?
Basically, but it's not what you can buy with FIFA coins. It's what they were doing with those coins. But for people who don't know, this is all to do with FIFA and FIFA Ultimate Team. And FIFA Ultimate Team is a card game where you buy and trade cards, and then make your best team, go out and play with that best team. That's the gist of it. The way you earn those cards is by either grinding matches, getting FIFA coins, or spending money on microtransactions and buying FIFA points. What these guys did was they managed to find a way of hacking the EA, and hacking the EA, like there's multiple EAs, hacking EA, hacking EA, for anybody who still doesn't know, it's Electronic Arts, and basically stealing $16 million worth of FIFA coins. And then they were selling those coins on, undercutting what EA were putting out FIFA points were. So they were selling them on, and I think they made in the region, or someone said this guy made $18 million in transactions. This guy is rich from hacking EA. Now, usually when it, comes to big AAA companies, I kind of stand there and go, nah. But this one, no, this is bad.
Hey, because it's terrible. Disrupting the economy for other players.
Yeah, exactly. And this guy made a lot of money off it. And here, I think he basically built a bot which helped him with getting onto the EA servers and just drawing out so many FIFA coins. And then selling them onto black market sites. So it's bad. Bad. Don't do it.
Bad.
Yeah, bad. Very bad.
All right. Our next section is called Game Off. Now, last week, you're going to like this, Zap. Did you look at the straw poll for last week?
I haven't looked at it at all.
All right. So I looked at it earlier, and we're tied.
Whoa! Oh man! So
yeah, Bionic Commando, Rearmed, and Elder Scrolls V both got 50% of the vote for which one should win if you could only play one, basically, or which one everybody should play. I guess it's not really if you could only play one kind of thing. But this week, let's talk about what we got. I brought.
Hang on.
Oh,
Hang on.
go
I don't
ahead.
know about you, but I'm a competitive person. Now, I thought in American sports you don't finish on a tie. So we
All
now
right.
how do we resolve this? Do we keep it at a tie, or do we drop the link in chat? We talk about the new ones and see if the link's been updated. How's that?
Yeah, I'll drop a link in chat.
Yeah.
So if you guys
So
want
chat.
to, if you guys, and I'll leave it up. Well, I won't leave it up. I'll bring it back up at the end.
Yeah.
So this is last week's poll. We'll see what you guys think. I picked Bionic Commando Rearmed as a fantastic game that should be played. Zap picked Skyrim as a fantastic game that should be played. So you guys can go ahead and click on those. And
Who just voted for Bionic Commando? Seriously, come on. This is. Yeah, I know why you're doing it now, people.
well, anyway, let's talk about what we brought to the table this week. I
Yeah.
brought. And this is on sale, which is awesome. This is called Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is a really, I know, it's ridiculous. So basically, this game, and let me hit play on the video so people can see how it works. It's really ridiculous. It's a roguelike dungeon crawler where there's constant music playing in the background, and you have to move your character to the beat of the music in order to keep this combo up. And you're constantly building up this combo, and all of the monsters on screen will also move to the beat of the music as you're trying to get through. I'm really bad at this game. But it is very, very fun. You can load it up with your own MP3s, so you can find music that you particularly like, and you can play through, like maybe you really like the new Metallica album, and you want to listen to that while you're running through a dungeon. It's got this cool 16-bit art style, and the music is just, or the visuals, I mean, just pop off the screen, and I definitely think that everybody should have a chance to try out Crypt of the Necrodancer. So that's the first one. What did you bring this week, Zap?
I think I might cheat again, but I'm going for it. And this game is also on sale, so if you haven't played this game, this is the best chance. The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. My God. If Skyrim is one of the best RPGs ever out there, The Witcher is just surpasses it, I think. This game is incredible in every single sense of the word. The company behind it, CD Projekt Red, the way they did their DLC program. The DLC for The Witcher, one of those was as big as the game itself. And there's not too much. The story is beautiful. The game itself is just a wonderful open world to explore with vast just landscapes and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful enemies, and you can't say much more about The Witcher then. He's just an unbelievably beautiful looking game.
Awesome. So I'm just putting together the poll right now. I'm going to drop it in chat. And then let's take a look at the other one. So let me just bring that up. So Bionic Commando, Rearmed, and Elder Scrolls V. It's tied again. Oh my goodness, it's tied again.
I think we'll take that as a point each. I think that's I think we'll take that as a draw.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot. How much is The Witcher 3? You said it's
That's
on sale?
40%. It's 40% off at the minute, so it's £20 and 99 pence, which would probably be about $26 or $7 for you.
All right, and Crypt of the Necrodancer is also on sale for $3.74.
Wow, I might pick that up.
Yeah, definitely pick it up if you got. Just don't go get a coffee one day this week. Make your own coffee at home one day, and you'll pay for it that way. And then just real quick, let's see the results so far. Oh, only one vote so far, and that was for Necrodancer. So you guys got to vote. This is America.
Yeah, and in England we have votes too, so get out and vote.
That's true. That's true. Even if we don't like how they go. All right. So
let's not go down that road, Run Jump.
no, let's not. I'll shut up now. Let's move on to the last segment of the show, and then this episode has gone long, but that's okay because I think it was a really good episode. The last segment is where it's called Wish Listed, where Zap and I both pick a game that we are interested in and want to check out. Pardon me. The one that I picked is Neon Drive. I am definitely a child of the 80s, and I love music from the 80s and like the 80s aesthetic. Not like the clothes we wore back then, because that was pretty awful, without a doubt. But I really like the 80s aesthetic, and it definitely comes to life in this particular game. It's a driving game where you've got 4 lanes, kind of like just the old retro racing games. You got these 4 lanes, and you can move back and forth, and they've got these really cool, I would say, striking visuals that are inspired by the 80s as you're driving down this road, and you've got lasers coming at you. Sometimes you'll see giant robots, and like earlier, there's flying cars, and it's just called Neon Drive. It's currently $5 on Steam because it's on sale. I love Steam. But it definitely looks cool, and it just feels like an old school arcade game, like Outrun. So I would definitely check out Neon Drive. That's something that I'm going to add to my wish list. What do you have for the wish list this week?
My wish list this week is Ghost Recon's Wildlands, and yeah, this looks fantastic. This is quite an old trailer, actually. I just realised we're trying to link. But it is looking pretty sweet. It's an open world 4-player co-op, guys, done by Ubisoft. I really like Ubisoft and the games they bring out. I really have got a thing about their games. And yeah, it looks a really cool open world. And the idea is that I don't know too much about it, which I'm kind of keeping myself away from games like this, because usually what happens is they'll just get spoiled on the internet, as we discussed today. But the actual premise of this open world to explore with your friends, kind of like The Division, but a bit more linear in the way the story works. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite cool, especially if they've got some Division tech in there. Now, The Division was a really good game. It is a very good game now. They've just redone it all. And this kind of looks like they're building on that kind of franchise. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this. Ghost Recon Wildlands doesn't actually release till next March or April, but yeah, it's well and truly on my wish list.
Awesome. Well, that's it for the show this week. Before we go, let's see how we're doing on the results for the straw poll. There we go. Now we got Witcher 3 is ahead, 57-43. So both Zap and I are going to post this on our Twitter, and you guys can let us know what you think by voting for them there. That's it for the show this week. If you enjoyed the show, then one way that you can help support us is by going to iTunes or Google Play or whatever podcast provider that you like to use, and give us a review. It'll get us higher in the rankings, and maybe we'll get into that new and noteworthy thing. If you want to be part of the show, one way that you can do that is by sending us an email. You can do that by sending an email to runjumpstomp@gmail.com, or you can also make a phone call and leave us a voicemail, and that phone number for that is 260-RUN-JUMP. That's 260-786-5867. You can always find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at RunJumpStomp. And Zap, where is it that people are going to be finding you?
On Twitter and Twitch, it's at DJ Zap, and on YouTube, it's on at Django Zap.
As always, thank you guys for watching and listening and supporting us. We really appreciate it, and this would not happen without you. As always, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That went well.
Nice. That went very well. No, it was good.
You know what's hilarious? I didn't use the timer once. I totally forgot about it until
Yeah, I
right now.
noticed it. I noticed that you forgot about it. I'm going to send you my Audacity file, but it's missing about 10 seconds at the beginning, I think.
You know what?
Forgot to.
I forgot to open Audacity at all.
Right, okay. Well, you said the audio was much better this week.
It
than my
was,
end, so.
yeah, it was. But did you get a chance to listen like at all to the file for like last week's episode?
No, I haven't got around a chance to listen to it yet.
All right. I mean, I don't
No.
listen to the whole thing, but I noticed that when I had your Audacity file, it was a huge. When I took the two Audacity files and put them together, it was a huge improvement in the audio quality of the whole thing. So I definitely think we should do that. And please, next time, remind me, and I'll remind you, and we'll just remind each other every time because I forgot.
Make sure we do us. Make sure we like say if the audio is better. People on the stream that have been watching me said my audio has been better this week. Over the last few days since I've taken it from the mixer. It's just a lot. That just seems to be, and I'm not a sound engineering kind of guy, so for me to have a mixer, it just wasn't working. So
yeah, are you going to be streaming?
I'm not. I'm going to be heading. I'm only going to take some paracetamol because the tooth that I broke last week is giving me some jip, and I'm going to be heading to bed. Well, I'm actually going to be playing some more World of Final Fantasy. No offense, guys. I'd love to speak to you all, but I'm sorry, but I can't stream World of Final Fantasy. Sorry. No, I won't be streaming this evening. But I will want to talk to you quickly. I don't mind if we do this live. Just to make a note of something.
All right.
December the 14th is probably going to be my last podcast of this year, of this side of Christmas. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be around on the 21st. I don't know how long or how far planned ahead you want to go into, obviously, the Christmas weeks. So I don't know how busy your personal schedule is.
Yeah.
The 14th is probably the last one I can guarantee because after that, I don't know when I'm going to be finishing work at a reasonable time.
Mm-hmm.
The 21st, I know for definite, which is the week after, I will be late because all our turkeys and chickens come in, so we'll be booking those in. So, and then the 22nd, 23rd, I just don't even exist in life. So I was thinking on the 14th of December, should we do a game of the year, Run Jump Stomp podcast game of the year episode where we talk about our own personal favourite games of the year. Switch it all up.
That sounds great.
And do something like that and make that the last...
Have I played enough games this year?
Well, you might have to think of some. Doesn't matter if you haven't played them, stuff you've seen. We can sit down over the next sort of week or so and think of some categories, and we can do our own game awards.
All right. So here's what if I make a Google form and I'll put it in the Discord channel, and people can submit categories and they can submit games. And you and I'll, each one of us for each category. Here's an idea. So we'll have all these categories, okay, and people will submit games for their category, and then you and I will each pick one of the games out of the ones that was submitted that we think
deserves the title.
It deserves the title for that particular.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So we'll do that for December the 14th. So if we make that the last dual podcast for this side of Christmas, because I say I don't want to go down on the 21st, and I say I can do it and I can't do it.
No, I understand completely. It's a crazy time of year.
Yeah, so I can guarantee up to the 14th, but I can't guarantee any further. After Christmas, just so I can start making notes of the new year, do you want to do one on the 28th, or do you want to come back in the new year, which is the 4th of January? When do you want to actually...
It doesn't matter to me. Both would be fine, probably. I say that now, but at the same time, my wife may say, hey, we're going to go here or we're going to go there on this day. Well, so I won't know that until ahead of time.
We actually say, right, the last dual podcast is the 14th. We'll both be back. I mean, obviously, I will be back with you on the show on the 4th of January. How about we have a week off between Christmas and New Year, and then come back on the 4th, ready to start again?
That works perfect for me.
That way, we keep Christmas completely clear, keep New Year completely clear, come back to it on Wednesday the 4th. There's not going to be a lot of gaming news for us to discuss too much over Christmas anyway.
Right.
It dies out. It does go quiet.
Yeah.
So I think that the best way forward would be the 28th. We have no podcast. We both have time off. 21st, if you want a podcast on your own, even if I can make 5 minutes towards the end, go hi, but I doubt it. Hi, I'm here still, I'm alive. And then we say, right, sod it, that's it. 28th, no podcast. 4th of January, we are back, ready to roll.
I'm glad that you thought of this stuff. Also,
I mean,
Eskimo Princess has a really good idea in chat. After we get the list from people, so we're gonna have to get the list ahead of time. We're gonna have to get it soon, and then we're also gonna have. There's also a popular vote, so people can pick of this. Which one do you guys want? So
you have to use the word popular vote, though.
Oh yeah, well we don't use an electoral college in this country. At least,
I do want to say as well, we might have to take it into effect, and it will be featured in a couple of weeks. The Game Awards are happening, so we need to keep an eye on that.
Oh, definitely.
Because I want to see what their game of the year is.
And what day? Do you know what day that is?
1st of December.
It's the 1st of December. So we could talk about that on the 7th.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be I think it might be a big one for us to talk about, because we can disagree or agree with their categories, and that might take up most of the podcast, because the Game Awards has been quite controversial, especially last year with the Hideo Kojima stuff. So that might be something to really talk about.
So here's what I think would be a good plan. We want to have the form done by the 30th of November. That way we can put the form out next week, so that people can give us the games that should be on the list, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then on the 7th, I'll have a separate form so people can vote for whatever games they want for each thing.
Yep.
That's the day that we will talk about the Game Awards. Yep. And then on the 14th, we do the game of your idea.
Game Awards.
And then we can talk about the results of the thing that we sent out on the 7th.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds really good. I like it. I think that's going to be. That's quite a nice way to round the year off. I know we haven't been doing the podcast all year, but it'd be nice going forward to have that, so we know at the end of the year we can say in October, right, we're doing this in December, and we can give plenty of time just to get their games in, and then we can set the vote. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't agree with half the game of the year, so I can't wait to see what people think. So this will be really good. On the vote, we're obviously going to have. Should we tell chat to put their games? Are we then putting a game each from us?
People can put in as many. I think people can put in as many games as they want, but then when you have to vote on them, you can only pick one.
Yeah, that's fine.
So people can submit as many games as they want, but you can only pick one. When and no cheating, people. We got to use the honor system here. So you can't go in there and vote in your Firefox and then in Chrome and then in Internet Explorer. And if you use Internet Explorer, I'm sorry, you should stop doing that right now.
Why would you use Internet Explorer? Please,
right.
Please don't.
All right, I'm going to take off. This is a good idea, though, Zap.
Yeah, I enjoy it. So, I will speak to you. I'll speak to you on Discord.
All right, take it easy.
Good night, all.
Thank you guys for coming. I'm going to host somebody, and we'll see you next. Well, I'll probably be streaming on Friday, so I'll see you then. Bye-bye. I can't find the button. Where's the button?
Low energy. You got another red machine.